broadcasting to South Dublin on 93.9. This is Dublin South FM.
So Sharad Awasthi is here, and Sharad's clip is here, and I would, without further ado, I will play the clip of the controversy of electoral bond, and of course the arrest of the Kejriwal, the Chief Minister of Delhi, and all that. And indeed, the tail end of that is also the very, very big news that is breaking around is what is the story behind Rafah? What is the story about Gaza and the Gaza gas? It's a really tongue twister here, because they revealed that the invasion of Gaza is nothing to do with the actual Palestinian and Hamas. Is about to do the actual gas reservoir that they have discovered under the water around the Gaza Sea. But that's another day's work, and I'll do the full program some other time on that. But today I shall be just sticking to the Sharad's clip about the electoral bond and the controversy of what's happening there in that part of the world. So there we go.
Welcome, dear listeners, to another insightful segment on Apna Radio. Here we delve into the significant headlines from around the globe while maintaining our commitment to journalistic impartiality. Thank you for your reviews and feedback. We look forward to them. Today, we begin with the development concerning Julian Assange's extraction case running in the United Kingdom courts. So the UK court has sought assurances from the US government that if Assange is extradited, he will not face the death penalty and will be treated fairly according to the human rights standards. So that's some respite for Julian Assange, who is in the United Kingdom jail for very long now. Then shifting our focus to India, the electoral bonds have emerged as a focal point shaping the narratives of the upcoming 2024 elections. Following the Supreme Court ruling deeming electoral bonds as illegal, the State Bank of India, who was the custodian of these bonds, have been ordered to disclose all related information about the bonds to the public. After much reluctance, the State Bank of India did so. Now, the revelations from these disclosures highlight the crony capitalism and the corruption that is inherent, and it is built into this electoral bond system. And some of the leading newspapers have described the electoral bonds as a sordid scheme, and it has attributed the bonds to facilitating anonymous political donations and also to undermine the democracy. Some of the newspapers have called these bonds as hint of widespread rot and unfortunate bumbling and a threat to Indian democracy. In not so diplomatic language, people have called these bonds as protection money, hafta, extortion, vasuli, chanda chori, kickbacks, not the least, a bribe. The consequences of the disclosure of the donors and the purchasers are serious ones, because now these electoral bonds are turning into an ocean of scams, bag full of favors and a weapon of blackmail and tools of manipulation of business and democracy. What will also come in future, as we see, is that these bonds have been an instrument for money laundering. An important aspect of this bond is that it allows the trading of. So this means that the purchaser of the bond may not be the actual beneficiary of the favor from the political party. So it also means that the source of the fund of the donor, it may be different from what the SBI, the State Bank of India's unique ID suggests. Another important aspect that is getting missed out in this chaos and noise of electoral bond scam is that the total amount of bonds issued were in the range of 16,000 crore. And the disclosure from the SBI that ordered by Supreme Court is only for rupees 12,000 crores. So what those additional 4,000 crores, what additional information that 4,000 crores worth of electoral bonds hold will obviously reveal game-changing information for this country. We have to wait for that. So this brings us to the idea of tax-funded elections in India. It's a complicated and multifaceted question whether elections should be tax-funded or not. And the subject is linked with issues of socio-economic and politico-economic significance. Many countries, though, across the globe have embarked on varying degree of public funding. Primarily, they want to reduce the undue influence of private money in politics. But as of now, no country has wholly embraced the concept of tax-funded elections. But various facets of electoral machinery, from campaign financing to candidate support, has been partially or to some extent been experimented. So, for example, in the New York City mayor election, the New York City campaign finance program, it matches small payments to the city council and mayor candidates, and this approach actually encourages the candidate to cultivate grassroots support and reducing thereby their dependency on large donors. Also, there is a capping on spending, and therefore it prevents the wealthier candidates from overwhelming the campaign with their financial resources. In countries like Finland, Britain, Germany, it provides free broadcasting time to political parties during the election, and it ensures that all parties, regardless of their financial clout, they have a equitable platform to communicate their message. Unlike in India, where we see that one political party actually overwhelms all hoardings and all medias and all broadcasting channels with their messages and their optics. So, as in case of electoral bonds, these donations should have gone to the election commission, and through election commission, the funds should have been given equally to all the qualified candidates, irrespective of their parties and financial circumstances. So what would happen is that this would give a level playing field, and it would mitigate the risk of giving advantage to candidates who belong to a particular party or is himself herself rich. So if the election commission is funding the campaign, it will actually tear down the financial barriers, and that this financial barrier is what deters the individuals from diverse socioeconomic background from pursuing political careers. So a tax-funded election or pooling of the electoral bonds into election commission funding, that would democratize the political arena by providing financial support and resources, and thereby it will foster inclusivity and representation of diverse group of Indians in the election. So it is the right time actually to introduce tax funded elections, and if people want to donate large sums of money, they should be allowed to do so, but not to a particular political party, but to a national fund under election commission. And the interesting part is that I was going through the newspaper for the 27th of March 2024, just a week after the electoral bond scam has been unearthed. None of the newspaper has broadly and exclusively or comprehensively covered the fallout of the electoral bonds, while the private YouTube channels and the anchors of individual anchors, they have been providing lots of details about the connection of electoral bonds with the behavior of the political parties, and this is interesting as far as the role of media is concerned in the elections. So, thank you very much, dear listeners. We hope peace returns to the people of Palestine and the region. So, tune in again to your own Apna Radio.
Broadcasting to South Dublin on 93.9. This is Dublin South FM.
Indeed, this is Dublin South FM, and you're very welcome to the programme. I'm back again, and did you listen about the electoral bond and how fiasco it was, how debacle it turned out to be, that one political party was leading vis-a-vis Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP, and they thought that they're clever enough to come up with this idea and, collect the thousands and thousands and thousands of crores of rupees in order to, to fund their election. But no, I mean, this is the beauty of democracy, that in democracy, regardless of the fact that they are now controlling the entire media, so-called the Godi media, the channels, the radio, the hoardings and all the rest of it, practically they are dominating the scene there. They have been caught, and they are alternative ways of, funding the elections and everything. So electoral, the election commission has actually come very heavy on them. And then they realized that this is the way to go about it.
Broadcasting to South Dublin on 93.9. This is Dublin South FM.